People like you don't deserve to breathe the same air as decent folks, let alone sit in first class." Michelle Harper's voice cracks through the Boeing 737's recycled air, her finger stabbing toward seat 2A. But watch carefully. The black woman she's attacking sits with an eerie calmness, typing something on her phone that makes 3 executives in different time zones suddenly stop their board meetings. The slap echoes through the cabin. Michelle's palm connects with flesh, and 50,000 livestream viewers cheer the flight attendants' brave stand against fraud. They have no idea what they're really witnessing. The woman in 2A touches her burning cheek, a strange smile playing at her lips. 60 minutes, she whispers, checking her Patek Philippe watch hidden under her sleeve. That's all it takes to change everything. Michelle laughs, drunk on viral validation, completely unaware of the countdown that just began. In exactly 1 hour, something will happen that transforms not just her life, but an entire industry. The only clue? The victim's next words. "You should have checked who owns this plane." 45 minutes earlier, Gate B7 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport buzzes with the controlled chaos of morning departures. Dr. Keisha Washington approaches the jet bridge with measured steps, her appearance deliberately understated. A simple navy blazer over dark slacks, no visible jewelry, except for the watch hidden beneath her sleeve. After 3 days of negotiations that would reshape aviation leasing agreements across North America, she craves nothing more than to disappear into seat 2A and close her eyes. Michelle Harper stands at the aircraft entrance, 7 years of experience teaching her to categorize passengers within seconds. Business travelers get efficient smiles, families receive warm welcomes, first-class passengers earn extra attention. Her mental algorithm processes appearances, matching them to seat assignments with mechanical precision. Designer suits mean premium cabins. Backpackers mean economy. It's a system that has never failed her, until today. When Kesha appears, Michelle's internal radar stutters. The woman before her doesn't compute. Professional appearance, but no luxury brands. Traveling alone but carrying herself with quiet authority, black but heading toward first class. The cognitive dissonance makes Michelle's smile falter for just a moment before her assumptions take control. "Economy passengers to the right, please." Michelle's voice carries that particular tone service workers perfect. Helpful on the surface, dismissive underneath. She doesn't even look at Keisha's boarding pass, so certain her assessment is correct. Keisha pauses, studying Michelle with the patience of someone who has navigated this exact scenario countless times before. She could flash her credentials now, end this before it begins. Instead, she extends her boarding pass with deliberate calm. "First class, actually. Seat 2A. The paper trembles in Michelle's fingers as her worldview collides with printed reality. The barcode is legitimate, the price, 8,750s, glaring up at her in small text. But rather than apologize, Michelle's mind scrambles for explanations that preserve her assumptions. Stolen credit card, company expense abuse, anything except the simple truth that this black woman can afford first-class travel. "I'll need to verify this with my supervisor," Michelle announces, loud enough for other passengers to hear. The first seeds of public humiliation are planted, though neither woman yet knows what bitter fruit they'll bear. Behind Kesha, other first-class passengers begin to notice the holdup. Richard Blackstone, a pharmaceutical executive who flies this route monthly, taps his Italian leather shoe impatiently. Barbara Whitman, draped in pearls and privilege, purses her lips at the delay. Marcus Rivera, a travel blogger building his following by documenting authentic flight experiences, quietly activates his phone camera, sensing content gold. Brad Stevens emerges from the galley, 15 years of experience and 3 discrimination complaints he's helped bury, making him Michelle's perfect ally. His eyes perform the same assessment, reach the same flawed conclusion. Is there a problem here? This passenger, Michelle gestures toward Kesha, as if she's evidence in a crime, has documentation for first class that seems questionable. The word hangs in the air like an accusation. Other passengers crane their necks, phones emerging from pockets, the modern instinct to document drama taking hold. Keisha remains perfectly still, her expression unreadable, watching the situation escalate exactly as she predicted it would. "Ma'am, would you mind stepping aside while we verify your booking?" Brad's tone suggests this is routine, but his body language, standing too close, voice pitched for an audience, reveals the performance. They're not verifying anything. They're establishing a narrative where Kesha is suspect until proven innocent. In that moment, as 2 airline employees unite in their assumptions while 50 passengers watch, Kesha makes a decision. She won't reveal herself yet. She wants to see exactly how deep this rot goes, how many people will enable discrimination when it wears a uniform and speaks with authority. "I'll wait right here," she says quietly. "In line, like any other paying customer." The gauntlet is thrown, though Michelle doesn't yet recognize it as such. The verification theater begins with Brad Stevens making a show of checking systems he's already decided will confirm his bias. His fingers dance across the tablet, frowning at results that don't match his expectations. The booking is legitimate. Paid 3 weeks ago, corporate credit card, no flags or warnings. But admitting this would mean acknowledging his mistake, and Brad Stevens doesn't make mistakes about these people. The system shows a booking, but sometimes fraudulent purchases take time to flag, Brad announces, inventing policy on the spot. We'll need to see additional identification and verify the credit card used for purchase. Keisha reaches into her jacket with movements so controlled they seem choreographed. Her driver's license emerges first, Georgia issued, Buckhead address that Brad doesn't recognize as one of Atlanta's wealthiest neighborhoods. Next comes the credit card, its black surface catching the light. American Express Centurion. The card so exclusive most people doubt it exists. Michelle's face cycles through confusion to suspicion to desperate denial. Rather than accept the evidence before her, she doubles down. Anyone can get fake IDs these days. I've seen news reports about identity theft rings targeting airlines specifically. The accusation transforms the atmosphere. What began as a service dispute has escalated into allegations of criminal activity. Passengers who were merely curious now lean forward with the hungry attention of those witnessing public drama. Marcus Rivera adjusts his phone angle, ensuring he captures both Michelle's accusations and Keisha's preternatural calm. "Should we call security?" Michelle asks Brad, loud enough for the gathering crowd to hear. "I mean, if there's potential fraud happening, don't we have an obligation to protect the airline?" Barbara Whitman's voice cuts through the tension like a knife through butter. "I think that's wise. One can't be too careful these days." Her support emboldens Michelle, validates her assumptions, transforms individual prejudice into mob consensus. But Keisha doesn't react with anger or indignation. Instead, she opens her laptop bag and withdraws a folder she's been carrying for exactly this kind of situation. Inside are documents that would end this confrontation instantly. Contracts with Skylink, SEC filings showing her ownership stake, photographs with the airline's CEO. She fingers them thoughtfully, then makes a different choice. "Call security," Keisha says calmly. "In fact, I insist on it. I want a full investigation into why I'm being denied access to my legally purchased seat. and I want it documented. Every word, every action, every decision you're making right now." The request throws Michelle off balance. Criminals don't demand investigations. Fraudsters don't insist on documentation. But rather than reconsider, Michelle interprets this as sophisticated manipulation. That's exactly what a professional scammer would say. They know the system, know what to say to seem legitimate. Brad nods approvingly. "Michelle's right. I've seen this before. They study our procedures, learn the right words, try to intimidate us into backing down." He's speaking to the audience now, building a case in the court of public opinion. Officers Martinez and Thompson arrive 12 minutes later, their presence transforming a customer service dispute into a security incident. Michelle briefs them with the efficient precision of someone who believes she's preventing a crime. Potential fraud, suspicious documentation, refusing to comply with verification procedures. Martinez, a 15-year veteran who's seen every kind of airport dispute, approaches with professional weariness. His partner Thompson, younger and eager to establish authority, keeps his hand near his radio as if Keisha might suddenly bolt for the exit. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with us," Martinez says, the words carrying the weight of authority that transforms requests into commands. "Am I being arrested?" Keisha asks, her voice carrying clearly through the gate area. "No, ma'am, we just need to verify." "Then I'm not going anywhere. I have a legal ticket, valid identification, and I've committed no crime. If you want to investigate, you can do it right here, in front of all these witnesses." The standoff crystallizes the entire conflict. Michelle has called for backup, escalated to authorities, transformed suspicion into quasi-criminal investigation. But Kesha refuses to be moved, refuses to be shamed, refuses to accept that her presence in first class requires extraordinary verification. "She's being combative," Michelle tells the officers, desperation creeping into her voice. "Isn't that suspicious? Why won't she just cooperate if she has nothing to hide?" Thompson steps forward, youth and authority a dangerous combination. "Ma'am, we can do this the easy way or the hard way." It's the moment Keisha has been waiting for, the point where implicit bias becomes explicit threat, where discrimination reveals its true face. She looks directly at Marcus Rivera's camera, ensuring every word is captured. "Officer Thompson, are you threatening to physically remove me for the crime of purchasing a first-class ticket while black? Because that's what's happening here." Michelle looked at me and decided I don't belong. Everything since has been justification for that initial prejudice. The words land like bombs in the crowded gate area. Some passengers shift uncomfortably, recognizing truth when they hear it. Others, like Barbara Whitman, harden their expressions, offended by the suggestion that their support of Michelle might stem from anything other than concern for security. Michelle's face flushes red, anger finally breaking through her customer service facade. "Don't you dare play the race card. This is about suspicious behavior, not color." "What suspicious behavior?" Keisha asks quietly. "Name one thing I've done except try to board with my valid ticket." The silence that follows speaks volumes. Michelle can't articulate what's suspicious because the only suspicious thing is Keisha's audacity to exist in a space where Michelle believes she doesn't belong. And in that silence, something shifts. The crowd begins to divide. Those who see discrimination unfolding and those who refuse to acknowledge it. The stage is set for the confrontation that will change everything. The boarding process continues around them like water flowing past a stone, creating an island of conflict in a stream of travelers. Michelle, emboldened by uniform and audience, decides to take control of the narrative. She pulls out her personal phone, a violation of company policy she'll later regret, and opens Instagram Live. "Y'all, I need you to see this. she announces to her modest following, which explodes from 300 to 3,000 viewers within minutes. We've got someone here trying to finesse their way into first class with suspicious documentation. This is what we deal with every day, people trying to game the system. The live stream becomes a catalyst, comments flowing in real time. Stand your ground, girl. Don't let her intimidate you. Expose the scammer. Each message feeds Michelle's righteousness, convincing her she's the hero in this story. She pans the camera toward Keisha, who remains seated with unsettling composure, fingers typing steadily on her phone. Unknown to Michelle, those messages are reaching 3 board members, 2 senators, and a federal aviation administrator. Brad Stevens recognizes the policy violation, but calculates that supporting Michelle protects him more than following rules. Ma'am, he addresses Kesha with exaggerated patience, if you'll just come with security quietly, we can resolve this without further disturbance. I've been quiet, Kesha responds, her voice carrying despite its soft tone. I've been patient, I've shown documentation, I've answered questions. What more would you like? A DNA test? A credit report? My tax returns? Barbara Whitman gasps at what she perceives as sass. Such attitude! This is exactly why… She catches herself before finishing the sentence, but everyone knows how it would have ended. The crowd dynamics shift as Marcus Rivera decides to provide commentary on his own recording. This is wild, folks. They've had this woman here for 20 minutes because they don't believe she belongs in first class. Still haven't given a real reason. Sir, please don't interfere, Officer Thompson warns. But Marcus continues filming. Michelle's live stream audience has swelled to 10,000, the algorithm detecting drama and promoting it accordingly. She reads comments aloud, seeking validation. Someone just said they've seen this exact scam before. See? The people know what's really happening here. That's when Captain Morrison emerges from the jet bridge, his 4 stripes commanding immediate attention. 23 years of flying have taught him to recognize when situations are spiraling beyond recovery. His presence should de-escalate things. Instead, it provides Michelle with what she interprets as ultimate authority. Captain, thank goodness, Michelle rushes to explain her version. We have a security situation. This passenger, she points at Kesha, like evidence in a trial, is refusing to comply with verification procedures. She's being combative, playing the race card, trying to intimidate us into letting her board with questionable documentation. Morrison's eyes travel from Michelle's flushed face to Brad's supportive stance to the officers standing ready. Then they settle on Kesha, taking in her calm professionalism, her patient expression, the folder of documents she hasn't yet revealed. His pilot's instinct for reading situations tells him something is very wrong here, but the weight of his crew's united front presses against his judgment. Ma'am, I'm Captain Morrison. What seems to be the issue? Keisha meets his eyes directly. The issue, Captain, is that your flight attendant took one look at me and decided I couldn't possibly belong in first class. Everything since has been an attempt to justify that assumption. I've shown my ticket, my ID, my credit card. What else would you like to see? She's lying! Michelle's voice cracks with desperation. Captain, I've been doing this for 7 years. I know when something's not right. My gut tells me. Your gut? Keisha interrupts, standing slowly. The movement draws every eye, commands every camera. Let's talk about your gut, Michelle. What exactly did your gut tell you when you saw me? Before you looked at my ticket, before you asked my name, before you knew anything about me except the color of my skin, what did your gut say? The question hangs in the air like an accusation. Michelle's mouth opens and closes, searching for words that won't condemn her. The live stream comments begin to shift. Wait, did she even check the ticket first? This is starting to look different. Oh no, Michelle, what are you doing? Captain Morrison feels the situation balanced on a knife's edge. His next words will either diffuse or detonate. Perhaps we should... Check my laptop, Kesha says suddenly, opening her computer. Go ahead, Captain. Look at my emails. See who I've been corresponding with. Check my calendar. See who I meet with. Verify my identity however you need to. But do it here, in front of everyone, so there's no question about what you find. It's a calculated risk. The laptop screen illuminates with an executive desktop, emails from Fortune 500 CEOs, calendar appointments with government officials, financial documents that reveal more than she intended to share. But Michelle, riding high on viral validation and mob support, makes the fatal error. Probably all fake, she announces to her live stream. These people are sophisticated. They create entire false identities, fake email accounts, doctored documents. Don't fall for it, Captain. The accusation is so absurd, so desperately reaching, that even Brad Stevens begins to look uncomfortable. But Michelle is too far gone to stop now. The comments on her live stream are shifting rapidly. Michelle, maybe you should stop. This is getting uncomfortable to watch. Are you sure about this? Officer Martinez steps forward, years of experience telling him this needs to end before something irreversible happens. Let's all take a breath. But Keisha is done taking breaths, done being patient, done pretending this is anything other than what it is. She stands to her full height, shoulders back, and speaks with the authority she's been hiding. Michelle, you have exactly two choices. You can apologize now, seat me where I belong, and we can pretend this unfortunate incident was a misunderstanding. Or you can continue this performance, and in exactly 1 hour, you'll understand the true cost of discrimination. The threat is so calmly delivered, so precisely articulated, that it sends chills through the watching crowd. This is not the voice of a scammer or a fraudster. This is the voice of power, warning before it strikes. Michelle, drunk on validation and blind to danger, makes her choice. Are you threatening me? On camera? Captain, she's threatening me. That's assault. Arrest her. And in that moment of peak hysteria, as 50 witnesses hold their breath and thousands watch online, Michelle Harper commits the act that will define her forever. She steps forward, raises her hand, and slaps Dr. Keisha Washington across the face. The sound echoes through the gate area like a gunshot. Time seems to stop. Every camera captures the moment from multiple angles. The impact, the shock on Keisha's face, the instant realization in Michelle's eyes of what she's just done. In the silence that follows, Keisha touches her burning cheek and smiles a smile that promises consequences beyond imagination. Perfect, she whispers. You just made this so much easier. The slap reverberates through more than just the gate area. It echoes through corporate networks as Dr. Kesha Washington's emergency protocols activate automatically. 3 board members' phones buzz simultaneously. Legal teams receive automated alerts. A crisis management firm springs into action before Michelle's hand even returns to her side. Officers, Kesha speaks with otherworldly calm. I need you to arrest Michelle Harper for assault. Multiple cameras captured the incident. I'll be pressing full charges. But Michelle, still intoxicated by her live stream audience, laughs. She threatened me. You all heard it. I was defending myself. The comments on her feed are now a battlefield. Michelle, you just hit her. That wasn't self-defense. What have you done? Captain Morrison's face drains of color. 23 years of perfect safety records, and now this. Michelle, put the phone down, now. No, people need to see the truth. This woman is a fraud, a scammer, and... The woman you just assaulted, Keisha interrupts, reaching into her folder with deliberate precision, is Dr. Kesha Washington, Executive Vice President of Global Aviation Holdings, Skylink's parent company, The woman you just slapped on livestream owns significant equity in your employer. The first card lands on the podium like a bomb. The Skylink logo gleams beneath her name and title. The second card follows, her Federal Aviation Administration Advisory Board appointment. The third, her congressional testimony badge from last week's hearing on airline discrimination. Michelle's phone shakes in her suddenly nerveless fingers. The live stream captures her face cycling through denial, confusion, recognition, and finally pure terror. The comments explode. "Wait, what? Is this real? Michelle, you're done. OMG, she's the boss!" Brad Stevens stumbles backward as if physically struck. His tablet clatters to the floor, the sound sharp in the sudden silence. 15 years of enabling discrimination, of dismissing complaints, of protecting the status quo. All of it flashes before his eyes in a montage of career suicide. "No," Michelle whispers, her voice barely audible. "No, you're lying. This is part of the scam. These are fake—" Kesha opens her laptop again, this time navigating to Skylink's internal portal. Her credentials grant her administrative access that makes every employee in view gasp. She pulls up Michelle's personnel file, Brad's employment record, even Captain Morrison's flight history. The power display is surgical, precise, devastating. "I spent 45 minutes, Keisha says, her voice carrying to every phone recording this moment. "Watching you both discriminate against me based solely on my appearance. I gave you multiple opportunities to correct course. Instead, you escalated to violence. The crowd's energy shifts like a tide changing direction." Barbara Whitman slinks toward the back, suddenly fascinated by her phone. Marcus Rivera provides breathless commentary. "Folks, you're witnessing corporate justice in real time. This is unprecedented." Officer Martinez steps forward, duty overriding shock. "Ma'am, Dr. Washington, do you want to press charges?" "Yes, but first I have calls to make." Keisha's phone appears in her hand, and she dials a number that makes Captain Morrison's blood freeze. Robert Hayes, CEO of Skylink Airlines. "Robert? Yes, I'm at Gate B7. We have a situation that requires immediate action." She pauses, listening. "No, I'm not hurt. But your employee Michelle Harper just assaulted me on livestream after 45 minutes of documented discrimination. Brad Stevens enabled and escalated the situation. Michelle's livestream is still running, now to 30,000 viewers watching her world collapse in real time. Her legs give out, and she sinks to her knees, phone still clutched in trembling hands. The image, a uniformed employee kneeling before the executive she assaulted, becomes instantly iconic. "Your stock is about to tank," Keisha continues conversationally. "The footage is already viral. I estimate you have about 15 minutes before trading suspends. However, I'm prepared to offer Skylink an opportunity to lead instead of react." She listens to Hayes' desperate pleading, then cuts him off. "Emergency board meeting. 1 hour. Full diversity audit within 30 days. Mandatory anti-discrimination training for all customer-facing employees within 60 days. And Michelle Harper and Brad Stevens are terminated immediately, non-negotiable." The efficiency is breathtaking. While Michelle still kneels in shock, her employee access is revoked. Her badge deactivates. Her company email locks. Brad Stevens watches his 15-year career evaporate on the same tablet he used to enable discrimination. "Ma'am." Officer Thompson approaches hesitantly. The young officer who threatened the hard way, now speaking with exquisite politeness. Should we proceed with the arrest?" Keisha considers Michelle's crumpled form, the woman's live stream still capturing her complete destruction. The audience has turned entirely, comments now calling for Michelle's arrest, her firing, her complete social ostracism. The mob that validated her discrimination now bays for her blood. Yes, Keisha decides. Actions have consequences. But first, she addresses the gate area, ensuring every recording captures her words. Let this be absolutely clear. I could have revealed my identity immediately. I chose not to because I wanted to see how deep the rot goes. The answer is systemic. She turns to Captain Morrison, who stands frozen in professional horror. Captain, you have a choice. Take off with the crew that enabled this, or wait for replacements. I leave it to your judgment. The power demonstration complete, the reversal absolute. Keisha allows herself one moment of human emotion. She touches her still burning cheek where Michelle's hand connected, and speaks the words that will echo through corporate training videos for decades. I gave you dignity. You chose discrimination. I offered patience. You chose violence. Now you'll learn what accountability actually costs. The arrest proceeds with mechanical efficiency. Officer Martinez reads Michelle Harper her rights, while 30,000 live-stream viewers witness the culmination of viral justice. Her phone, still broadcasting, captures the handcuffs clicking into place, not for the fraud she imagined, but for the assault she committed. The irony is lost on no one. Please, Michelle's voice cracks as reality penetrates her shock. I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. This job is everything. Your children will learn their mother chose hatred over their stability, Keisha responds, not unkindly, but with firmness. Perhaps that lesson will serve them better than your example would have. Brad Stevens attempts to slink away, but Keisha's voice stops him cold. Mr. Stevens, your access has been revoked, but you're required for the investigation. Every complaint you buried, every incident you dismissed, all of it will be reviewed. The immediate aftermath unfolds with corporate precision. Within minutes, Skylink's emergency response team arrives at the gate. The head of human resources, Patricia Williams, a black woman who has spent 5 years fighting the very culture Michelle embodied, takes charge with barely concealed satisfaction. Dr. Washington, I apologize on behalf of Skylink Airlines. This behavior is inexcusable and will be addressed immediately. It's not about apologies, Patricia, Keisha replies, loud enough for the assembled crowd. It's about transformation. I want every employee who witnessed this and said nothing identified. I want every complaint from the past 5 years reviewed. I want accountability that actually changes behavior. Captain Morrison makes his decision. I won't fly with a compromised crew. We'll need replacements. His 23 years of experience recognize a watershed moment, align with change or be swept away by it. The replacement crew arrives within 40 minutes, their professionalism a stark contrast to the chaos they're replacing. The new lead flight attendant, James Patterson, approaches Keisha with genuine respect. Dr. Washington, welcome aboard. I apologize for the delay and the treatment you received. As passengers finally begin boarding, the transformation is palpable. Every Skylink employee moves with heightened awareness, understanding that discrimination now carries existential consequences. The viral video has already spawned 1,000 think pieces, hashtags, and corporate emergency meetings across the airline industry. Marcus Rivera interviews passengers as they board, capturing history in real time. This isn't just about one incident, he tells his audience. This is about power structures finally facing consequences. Every airline in America is watching this and reconsidering their training programs. Barbara Whitman boards in silence, her earlier support of Michelle now a source of deep embarrassment. She'll later claim she was concerned about security, not race, but her friends will remember her quick agreement with discrimination. Social consequences follow corporate ones. In first class, Keisha finally takes her seat. 2A, the one she paid for, fought for, and transformed an industry to occupy. But instead of satisfaction, she feels the weight of what's just begun. Her phone buzzes with messages from other executives, all suddenly eager to discuss their diversity initiatives. She opens her laptop and begins drafting the framework that will become the Washington Protocol: mandatory body cameras for all customer service interactions, AI-powered bias detection in complaint systems, and personal liability for employees who enable discrimination. It's revolutionary, expensive, and exactly what the industry needs. Dr. Washington? James Patterson appears with champagne. The captain wanted to personally apologize and ensure you have everything you need. What I need, Keisha replies, is for this to never happen again. To anyone. The flight takes off 57 minutes late, but those 57 minutes have changed everything. Michelle's live stream, archived forever, becomes required viewing in training programs. Her children will indeed learn about consequences, though Keisha quietly ensures they receive educational support through an anonymous foundation. Brad Stevens faces civil suits from every passenger he dismissed over 15 years. His suburban life crumbles under legal fees and settlements. The other employees who stood silent that day find themselves in remedial training, their career advancement frozen until they demonstrate real change. But the most significant transformation happens in corporate boardrooms across America. The Washington incident, as Harvard Business School will label it, proves that viral accountability can destroy market value faster than any scandal. Within days, every major airline implements new policies. Within weeks, congressional hearings on transportation discrimination gain new urgency. Keisha spends the flight drafting her congressional testimony, each word chosen to honor not just her own experience, but the thousands who faced discrimination without power to fight back. She thinks of every black woman told she doesn't belong in first class, every professional questioned at the gate, every traveler who endured humiliation in silence. As Flight 447 cruises toward Chicago, the ripple effects of one slap spread across the corporate world. Stock prices fluctuate, policies change, training programs scramble to address unconscious bias. The cost of discrimination, long hidden in HR settlements and NDAs, becomes publicly visible. The captain's announcement carries special weight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Morrison. I want to personally apologize for the delay and thank you for your patience during a difficult situation. Skylink Airlines is committed to treating every passenger with dignity and respect. Today, we failed that commitment. Tomorrow, we'll do better. Keisha touches her cheek one last time. The sting has faded, but the impact remains. One slap, broadcast to the world, has done more to combat airline discrimination than decades of lawsuits and legislation. Justice, she reflects, sometimes comes in unexpected forms. 6 months after the Washington incident, the aviation industry bears little resemblance to its former self. The mandatory body cameras catch 17 incidents of discrimination in their first week alone. Each one prevented from escalating by employees suddenly aware their actions have consequences. The Washington Protocol, initially resisted as excessive, becomes industry standard after 3 more airlines face viral PR disasters. Michelle Harper's name appears in textbooks as a cautionary tale. Unable to find work in any customer-facing role, she enrolls in community college at 42. Studying social work, an ironic career pivot that her professors note with careful neutrality. Her children, supported by Keisha's anonymous education fund, excel in school while learning hard lessons about consequences their mother never intended to teach. The ripple effects extend far beyond aviation. Retail chains implement bias training after viral videos destroy competitors. Hotels restructure their guest services when smartphone footage reveals systematic discrimination. The service industry, long protected by "customer is always right" mentality, faces a reckoning where customers can be wrong, and filmed being wrong. Tyler Rodriguez, formerly Marcus Rivera in our story, parlays his viral footage into a consulting career. Companies pay 6 figures for his viral accountability training, teaching employees that everyone carries a broadcasting studio in their pocket. His most powerful slide shows Michelle Harper at 2 moments, slapping a passenger, then kneeling in handcuffs. The transformation takes 43 seconds. Brad Stevens becomes a different cautionary tale. The enabler whose silence cost everything. His LinkedIn profile, once boasting 15 years of management experience, now sits dormant. Former colleagues avoid his calls. His discrimination lawsuit settlements consume his retirement savings. The suburban house sells at a loss. His children change schools to escape association with viral infamy. But the most profound changes happen in Congress. The Washington Act passes with bipartisan support, requiring body cameras for all interstate transportation employees. The technology creates 10,000 jobs, while making discrimination virtually impossible to hide. Senator Patricia Matthews, who sponsored the bill, keeps a photo from the Skylink incident on her desk, a reminder that sometimes justice needs documentation. Dr. Keisha Washington testifies before Congress with the same calm she displayed at Gate B7. Discrimination thrives in deniability, she tells the Assembly. When every interaction is recorded, bias has nowhere to hide. This isn't about surveillance, it's about accountability. The opposition argues about privacy, costs, government overreach. But the viral videos keep coming. A Muslim family harassed at security, an elderly Latino man dismissed at a rental counter, a disabled woman humiliated by hotel staff. Each incident strengthens public support for the Washington Act. The final vote isn't close. Skylink Airlines, under emergency transformation, becomes an unlikely industry leader. Their stock, which plummeted 40% in the days following the incident, rebounds to record highs as consumers reward authentic change. Patricia Williams, promoted to Chief Diversity Officer, implements training programs that other airlines license. The company that enabled Michelle Harper becomes the standard for inclusive service. The academic response proves equally transformative. Harvard Business School's case study, The Slap Heard Round the Boardroom, becomes required reading in ethics courses. Professor Jennifer Martinez leads seminars examining the intersection of social media, corporate accountability, and systemic change. Students debate whether viral justice represents progress or mob rule, whether transformation through humiliation creates lasting change or merely drives discrimination underground. Flight attendant unions split on the Washington Protocol. Some argue it protects workers from false accusations. Others claim it creates a surveillance state in the sky. The debate reflects broader tensions about privacy, accountability, and the price of progress. But the numbers speak clearly. Discrimination complaints drop 76% industry-wide. International airlines watch American carriers transform with nervous interest. Emirates implements similar policies after a viral incident in Dubai. Lufthansa announces bias training after footage emerges from Frankfurt. The Washington incident becomes a global catalyst, spreading accountability across borders through the universal language of viral video. 1 year later, Kesha delivers the keynote at the Global Aviation Summit. Standing before 5,000 industry professionals, She wears the same navy blazer from that fateful morning. The symbolism isn't lost on anyone. A year ago, I was assaulted for existing in a space someone believed I didn't deserve, she begins. Today, that space has transformed, not because of lawsuits or legislation alone, but because accountability became visible, immediate, and inescapable. The applause feels different from typical corporate celebrations. It carries the weight of an industry that learned transformation through trauma, that changed because the cost of staying the same became unbearable. Every policy update, every training session, every body camera represents someone who suffered discrimination before protection existed. She continues, Michelle Harper paid a terrible price for 30 seconds of hatred. Brad Stevens lost everything for enabling discrimination. Hundreds of careers ended in our industry's reckoning, but millions of future passengers will travel without fear of humiliation. That's the mathematics of progress. Messy, painful, but necessary. The standing ovation lasts 4 minutes, but Kesha's expression remains complex. Satisfaction mixed with sorrow for the human cost of change. Progress through viral destruction feels different from progress through enlightenment. Both reach the same destination, but one leaves more wreckage. As she leaves the stage, her phone buzzes with a message that makes her pause. Michelle Harper, writing from her community college email. Dr. Washington, I graduate next month. Thank you for the anonymous scholarship. I'm sorry for who I was. I'm trying to become better. Keisha stares at the message for a long moment, then types back. Becoming better is all any of us can do. Congratulations on your graduation. The exchange remains private, but its existence speaks to complexities that viral videos can't capture. Redemption alongside reckoning, mercy alongside justice, the possibility that even the worst moments might eventually teach the best lessons. 5 years after the Washington incident, Dr. Kesha Washington stands in the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History, where her story has become part of a permanent exhibit on digital age civil rights. The display features the viral video, the boarding pass from Flight 447, and testimonials from passengers whose lives changed because one woman chose accountability over accommodation. The numbers tell one story: airline discrimination down 82%, 23,000 jobs created in bias prevention technology, 40 million passengers protected by the Washington Protocol. But Kesha knows the human story runs deeper. In Michelle Harper's graduation with honors from social work school, in Brad Stevens teaching free diversity workshops as community service, in the thousands of employees who learned to see passengers as people rather than stereotypes. Dignity, Keisha tells the museum interviewer, shouldn't require documentation. Respect shouldn't need recording. But until we reach that ideal, accountability must be visible. The final frame of the exhibit shows 2 images side by side. Kesha being slapped in Gate B7, and Kesha speaking before Congress. The transformation between victim and victor took 60 minutes. The transformation of an industry took years. Both began with a decision to stop accepting the unacceptable. Today's flight attendants wear body cameras as naturally as wings. Today's passengers board knowing discrimination carries consequences. Today's executives understand that viral accountability moves faster than corporate hierarchies. The system that protected prejudice has been replaced by systems that make discrimination economically impossible. But the deepest change lives in the stories we tell. Michelle Harper's children speak proudly of their mother's redemption. Brad Stevens's diversity workshops overflow with attendees seeking genuine change. The Washington incident transformed from cautionary tale to catalyst for progress. As Keisha leaves the museum, she touches her cheek, a habit formed 5 years ago that she can't quite break. The sting faded long ago, but the impact remains eternal. Sometimes justice requires confrontation. Sometimes accountability demands documentation. Sometimes the most powerful response to hatred is transformation. The lesson echoes through time. When you strike someone for who they are rather than what they've done, you risk awakening not their anger, but their purpose. And purpose, once awakened, changes everything. Remember that.